you and Brett are both describing this huge productivity unlock where there will be a lot of wealth generated. Some of these numbers are in the trillions of dollars, and that money is going to flow into some companies. And Ryan and I were snooping around your portfolio, and we were looking at, what are they invested in? And we found xAI, OpenAI, Anthropic. And I was kind of looking to understand why you chose those companies. Is this a hedge against AGI? Is one going to be faster than the other?
Another question we're asked is, wait a minute, typically in the VC world, you're not going to see all three of those in the same venture fund. And that's because many venture funds end up sitting on the board. They have a tremendous amount of information about a company, and no other company in the same space would want to be, or would want information shared. So we don't sit on boards. And we do think this is winner take most. With distribution and speed and data, proprietary data being critical. So that's why we own all three. We think they are in the pole position. So it's winner take most. There will be somewhat more specialization, different language models, better at different things.
Of the money that's going to go into AI software, some of that goes into like software as a service type companies. Then, some of their costs is going to be to trigger these underlying foundation models and platform as a service type companies. And then that'll go into the infrastructure as a service layer. For that foundation model layer, we think there's a $1.5 trillion revenue opportunity. And, I actually think it's a conservative model, but I can debate it with the team, but call it, approaching 2 trillion. And so then, at least given our expectations for the margin structure, we think that's a $15 to $20 trillion enterprise value opportunity.
Wow.
The space is so fluid right now, you can't say for sure that one company is going to win over another. You can say ChatGPT clearly has a huge distribution advantage, and OpenAI is delivering more tokens to end users than probably any company in the world. And that gives them a lot of data and a lot of ability to iterate on product that delivers kind of magical experiences to end users. You can say xAI has basically distribution through all of it. What is going to be the default AI model on Starlink? Well, I would wager it's going to be xAI. What's going to happen as kind of prediction markets and capital markets get fully integrated into X, the platform? Well, probably xAI powered agents are going to become an important part of providing liquidity across those markets. And what's going to happen to the value of the information on X as a platform as xAI's underlying model improves? It's going to get better. So there's an interesting distribution advantage xAI has. And if you are making a video game that has a character that has to do violent things to another character, you don't want to ask the API to threaten to kill somebody, and the API says, as a large language model, I can't do this. It takes you, ruins your video game experience. And so xAI also probably has a set of APIs that will be able to deliver to end users the actual kind of thing they want, as opposed to kind of a very guarded, kind of politically correct output. And then Anthropic has the best coding model in the world right now, and is being built in on the back end of Cursor in a profound way. And so they all have different angles that they're playing, where ultimately we think there's this $15 to $20 trillion bucket people are competing after. And there's probably 2 or 3 winners there. And hopefully we own 2 or 3 of those winners. And the space is so dynamic. Like Cathie said, China's coming in with these open source models. How do these teams respond? How can they they're all trying to vertically integrate. OpenAI is, building out an endpoint hardware. I would wager that Elon Musk is also going to ask for an endpoint device. He's hinted that it's going to. That xAI is already vertically integrated through its data center. OpenAI is moving in that direction. X has the X platform. OpenAI is lacking on the kind of consumer-facing distribution, except for ChatGPT, but they don't have the social network angle. So there's a lot of kind of positioning that's going on right now. I will say that we think exposures there, as opposed to mega cap tech, where everybody else in the world is exposed, are a much better risk-adjusted spot to be. Because Google should have a credible play here, and they're interesting. They're they have a lot of talent. They also have this core search franchise that's under severe turmoil because of what's happening. The marginal attention is going to an AI bot to answer questions. Can Google cross that bridge? Maybe. Apple should be great at this, but their Apple intelligence is almost a joke. Siri is horrific.
We knew that. I just want to focus on those two right now because we were fighting the Mag 6, for the last 4 years in terms of, we didn't think that they were necessarily going to be the big winners. And we learned a long time ago from Apple. We saw them in the autonomous, the robo-taxi field. Like, if you think about the ultimate mobile device, it's a robo-taxi. And so Apple should have been all over it. And they were trying, and they had one management team turnover after another. And we finally said, they don't know what they're doing on AI. And anyone using Siri, still, I can't believe it. I mean, there's no way I would use it. Had to know. They didn't know what they were doing. Same with Google. It was very interesting. They have the best AI researchers in the world. And so everyone said, sure, they're gonna kill it. They're not. And one of the things we learned, and Brett, I think we did this on X, but it's very interesting that Anthropic is able to figure out, this was Frank's post on X, I think. Anthropic was able to figure out how to do something for Frank, very personalized, that Google couldn't, even though Google had all of Frank's information. And I don't even remember exactly why, but these are the nuances that matter now.
And it's also extremely clear, given the way in which the input-output into computation has changed, that we're undergoing an operating system platform transition. As in, these AI models are the new operating system. Kind of like Cursor is an application that was built on top of it. Chat GPT is with deep research. These are other applications that OpenAI is building. And so when you have an operating system transition, it's almost universally true that the prior operating system just cannot make the adjustment.
Operating system transition in the way we went from kind of desktop to mobile, like that sort of.
Yeah. So you go from keyboard to mouse. That's where you went from IBM to Microsoft. And Microsoft basically, like, if you look at a stock price to stock price basis, as that transition was occurring, IBM fell in half and Microsoft 10x'd. You went from mouse to multi-touch. That's when you went from Microsoft into iOS and Apple, and where Apple began to dominate the landscape. It's pretty clear we're going from multi-touch to natural language, primarily voice and typed. And so, a way to think about how Apple is weak is right now, if I want to control my iPad for my kid and be like, okay, this should only be available to this kid on Tuesdays for half an hour. And during that half an hour, he should be able to browse the web, but only selected, kid-safe websites. And he can use either of these two applications. And if he doesn't use it, he gets to use it on Wednesday for a half an hour. And this is the half-hour block. At all other times, he should not be able to open this thing except open the calculator app, right? Okay, that's like, why can't I tell Apple's device that that's what I want? And it just does the software transformation.
You're speaking my language. I've got 3 kids, and the way I figure out those problems, in order to understand all of the Apple iOS toggles and switches and parental controls, I actually go and I ask ChatGPT. I'm like, where do I find this in the Apple user interface? And it tells me, and then I go and navigate it. I mean, that shouldn't be happening in this day and age.
And even when you do that, it's impossible to. And so the reason Apple has a trouble making this transition, because they actually have to re-architect their operating system for this new user interface, right? They've designed and made all of these baroque additional settings menus, all based on multi-touch. And you have to start from scratch. That's what's going to win. And so I just don't think,
Well, that's why. So this is why it sounds like it's a very exciting time. And it's a couple of things that I'm hearing you guys say, both Cathie and Brett, is so number one, this is an absolutely massive market, $15 to $20 trillion. It's absolutely huge. Okay. And what's also interesting is we have some strong competition here. I don't think I've ever seen a market where you have so many strong competitors all vying for that chunk of a massive prize here. So. And then the other thing you're saying is you're not betting on the incumbents here. You're betting on the pure play. the natives. In the crypto world, we call these the crypto native companies, right? The
Right.
Coinbases of the world, rather than a bank trying to convert into a quote unquote blockchain company.
Or Ryan, a company like Tesla understands what embodied AI is in terms of robotaxis and humanoid robots. So that's an existing company, but the strategic vision was so long-term that nobody understood really who or what this company was.